What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. So, former President Donald Trump has surrendered to his indictment here, 34 counts. And there's more than just the Stormy Daniels charges here now in these 34 different counts here. And so some surprising things here. Take a listen to this.
We do have the statement of facts here, which just came out and was released by the DA's office moments ago. And this case is pretty much as advertised. We're seeing these 34 counts of falsifying business records in New York State. The essence of the case is laid out by the DA here. It's more than just Stormy Daniels, though. There's more to this case than just that. The DA here is saying that after the election, the defendant reimbursed Lawyer A, that's Michael Cohen, for the illegal payment through a series of monthly checks from the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust, a trust that was created under the laws of New York, which held Trump Organization entity assets after the defendant was elected president. Each check was processed by the Trump Organization. Each check was disguised as a payment for legal services rendered in a given month of 2017. The payment records kept and maintained by the Trump Organization were false New York business records. In truth, there was no retainer agreement, and Lawyer A was not being paid for legal services rendered in 2017. The defendant caused his entity's business records to be falsified to disguise his and others' criminal conduct. There's additional detail here in this statement of facts, which runs about 13 pages. Scott, I'll give you one of them, which is related to suppressing a story by a doorman about the former president of the United States. They're saying, the DA is saying here that in or about October or November of 2015, the AMI CEO, that is the media company CEO, learned that a former Trump Tower doorman was trying to sell information regarding a child that the defendant had allegedly fathered out of wedlock. At the AMI CEO's direction, AMI negotiated and signed an agreement to pay the doorman $30,000 to acquire exclusive rights to that story. AMI falsely characterized this payment in AMI's books and records, including its general ledger. So that is an allegation that has been floating around out there, reported a long time ago, now making its way into this statement of facts here by the DA. We're going to hear from him in just a couple of moments' time, so we'll get additional detail. And, of course, we'll go through the rest of this document and bring you any more information that's in the closing pages of it. Scott, back over to you.
Do we know, Eamon, when a trial would take place? And I can't even begin to imagine the process of trying to seat a jury in this case, just considering how polarizing the former president is.
Sure. I mean, there's almost nobody in this country who doesn't have an opinion about Donald Trump, right? And in Manhattan, Trump has made the case that he can't get a fair trial because it's a very liberal city. It's a very blue city in a blue state. He did float the idea on social media of maybe moving it to Staten Island, the Manhattan borough where he got the most support. It might be a more favorable venue for him. We don't have any idea what the timeline of this is going to be, Scott. It will be certainly months before we see any trial in this case. And I would imagine we're going to see a whole bunch of motions. We're going to get discovery here will be the next step. The defense side will get access to a whole lot of information that they didn't have access to, that the Manhattan DA has had in terms of what's in this case. And they'll be able to go through the evidence very carefully, and they'll be able to find additional evidence of their own. That will take a long period of time. I don't think we're going to see a trial. We'll see. Maybe we'll see that trial in 2023. Not betting on it.
Yeah, so after a long time here, they're going to try to get former President Donald Trump on falsifying business records, 34 different counts, including felony accounts here. And remember, there was a grand jury involved in this here. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on this here. Now, what's interesting here is the United States is not, we're not going to be the first country to bring charges against a former president here. So this is not the first precedent here. Take a listen here to this, and this will kind of give you a little bit of an idea here on how this could play out, and along with some more information here to this. Take a listen here.
I want to bring in Bret Baier. He's the anchor and executive editor of Special Report. He's also Fox News chief political anchor. Brett, amazingly, as this is unfolding, we're waiting to hear from the former president. The White House press briefing is underway. Karine Jean-Pierre was just asked about how President Biden is taking all of this in. She said, in part, this is not something he is focusing on. Obviously, he will catch part of the news when he has a moment, but it's not his focus. What do you make of that?
Not surprising, and that's some of the answers that the White House has provided already, trying to stay far away from this as far as commenting on it. You heard President Biden sidestep questions about it as well. But just 30,000 feet looking at this moment, it is surreal. You know, around the world, other countries have charged, indicted, and brought to trial former leaders, France, Italy, Israel, others. But we, as a country, have never done that. We have never, as a country, done what you're seeing right now. And that is what makes this historic. But as far as the charges that we are likely to see in coming minutes and within the hour or so, it's a lot of people wonder whether it rises to that moment. We'll see what's in there. But there are other things happening for the former president on other fronts that perhaps are more ominous. For example, just about an hour ago, the U.S. Appeals Court here in Washington ruled 3-0 against a Trump attorney effort to prevent key aides to President Trump from testifying to the special counsel Jack Smith and his team. That includes the former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Among that three-judge panel was a Trump-appointed appeals court judge, Greg Katsas. So that's a loss for the Trump team, and they are moving forward with the case about interfering in the elections and also on January 6th. Those plus the documents case at Mar-a-Lago provide real problems, potentially legally, but this moment is the first thing that we're seeing historically of a former president being charged.
Here is former President Donald Trump walking into the courtroom to plead not guilty. He pled not guilty on all 34 counts. And there really wasn't a lot of footage of him. He walked in there. Reporters asked him if he wanted to make a statement here at the beginning, and he did not say anything. And then he walked out really very shortly into kind of his motorcade there and went right into his thing. He is expected to possibly make a statement later from Mar-a-Lago. The White House had some interesting things to say here after being asked some questions. Take a look at what they had to say.
Thank you very much, Karine. Not asking about Trump, but about the precedent that this opens. Does the White House believe that a former president could or should be indicted?
I'm just not going to comment from here. Okay. All right. Oh, go ahead, Peter.
To follow up on that, President Biden is a lawyer. Is he
and
concerned?
the President of the United States and the Commander-in-Chief, but go ahead.
He is, but as a lawyer, is he concerned at all that a local DA indicting a former president could down the line open up the possibility, set the precedent, that local DAs that don't like former President Biden could indict him?
I'm not going to comment from here.
Why don't you have more to say about the Trump indictment?
It is an ongoing case, and I've been very clear about that. We've been prudent about that, not commenting on ongoing cases, and we're going to stick to that.
But for
Peter?
better or worse, all that anybody in the country is talking about at this exact moment while we are in here is Trump. And they look here to find out what the White House thinks about it. And
Well, I think the American people should feel reassured that when there is an ongoing case like this one, that we're just not commenting.
And so, does the lack of comment mean that you do not think anything happening in New York today is one of the top issues facing the country at the moment?
That's your assessment. That's not my assessment. I'm just laying out the facts that we are just not going to comment.
Yeah, so President Biden trying to stay as far away as possible from this. Probably a smart move for him. I guess you'll let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. Obviously, right now, this is the largest story maybe of the year for a long time. So I'll keep you up to date here along with this and everything else going on here in our country on a daily basis. So if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos that come out here on our YouTube channel. And here's some videos you should watch next. Here was a warning sent to Americans from North Korea, and Russia just took over part of the United Nations. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.